Cool. I think I'm live. Yes, I am. Waalaikum salam for them. Okay. This is our monthly roundup, catch up, and Q&A for Bunga Azaadi. So, if you're listening, you're not familiar with what this is. This is an opportunity for us as Bunga Azaadi to basically hold ourselves accountable, catch up with you guys with all the kind of outputs you did this month. And that sort of thing, and then we'll also take any questions from the Sangat who may be listening. So feel free to comment in any questions, any topics you want us to cover, any ideas you have, or anything you want us to review, that sort of thing. Just let us know. This is the opportunity to do so. So no one can come and tell me, oh, I disagree with him. But then if you don't tell me, how would I know, right? So this is the opportunity to do it. Okay, there'll be a couple of updates, I guess, as well. But we'll plan it out. So give me a second. Yeah, there's another update we'll give today as well. So hopefully you can see my screen change to the Instagram. I'm wary of you guys on Discord. Probably won't be able to see my screen. I remember that was an issue last time. I was talking, you guys didn't know what I was talking about. Let me share my screen on here as well. Give me a second. Yeah, for some reason I can't share my screen on Discord, I think whilst I'm streaming. So if you're on Discord, you might want to have the YouTube thing open as well. Although I'm going to be talking through most of it anyway, so like it's not that necessary. Until I sort of say, oh yeah, you should probably look at this thing. So yeah, if you've got YouTube guys open as well on the side, and then you can see my screen. Let me quickly change my screen then now to yeah, okay, cool. Let me know if you guys can see my my screen. I'll put this up here. Every time I do this, I think I should get better at it, but I don't need to. There's so many like screens up and everything. Okay, so this month was the month of April. So we did quite a bit, I think, this month. So if I go to our Instagram, I'll go through. So when was the last session we had? March Darbar, yeah. So the first post we did was related to this idea of the Sambar document versus these Dalits manifestos. If you guys remember, a little while ago, a group of neo-Khalistanis tried to debunk our outputs and the manifesto, whatever, but they did a very poor job at it. So whilst we did debunk them, challenge debate and stuff, they didn't turn up, like a classic. But one of the points they mentioned in one of their posts against us was the idea that a lot of the effort we're doing right now is not necessary because it's already been done. Well, clearly, if this was the case, more of us would know about it. And obviously, I've spent a lot of time myself trying to find out these questions and never get a satisfactory answer. So clearly, it hasn't been done, or at least to the extent that we felt necessary. And some of the examples they gave, one of them was this Samvar document, and we then looked into what the Samvar document actually covered, and it seems to be a bit of an embarrassing thing for them to actually bring it up because they seem to have two different kind of purposes, the Dalits manifesto and the Samvar document. Two different problem sets we're dealing with here. It's not the same thing. So we made this post, a bit more of a general post, just sort of like debunking this particular claim. So they're sort of saying, oh yeah, yeah, you have to go to the YouTube to see the screen, but yeah. So yeah, they're sort of saying, oh yeah, all these scholars or whatever have extensively outlined models of state governance that are more move beyond Western nation-state paradigm. I mean, even that in itself is kind of a problematic thing to say because if you're demanding a Khalistan, you're, as per like the definition, you're advocating for a Western model, right? It's a Western notion of a nation-state. The idea of nation states is fairly new in human history, and it's a foreign one to us culturally, at least. This isn't to say the demand is illegitimate as a result, hence why we wouldn't put a lot of effort into it, otherwise we thought it was illegitimate. But it is to say that if you're going to blanketly disagree with things on the basis that it's Western, then do assess your own positions, and don't be surprised when we then say, okay, well that position of yours actually is Western influenced. So yeah, they said, okay, yeah, all these models and stuff have already been outlined. They gave the Samvar document as an example. We then sort of like look through it and say, okay, well, what is it? We give a little bit of a statement here, like I did, what the sort of Azadi's manifesto's motivations were. It was the frustration I kept facing when asking, how would it work, and getting one of these 4 kind of responses. There'll probably be more things I didn't consider, but generally this is the kind of 4 things you might expect. You might expect one saying, oh, we'll figure it out after we get a Khalistan, which is frankly ridiculous. You don't start a business without a business plan. And you shouldn't start a nation without one, especially when it's not shareholders' wealth at stake here. It's the lives of potentially millions, if not billions of people. So you probably should have a plan. And I know in some of their other posts they talk about, oh, all these examples, they didn't have a solid plan fleshed out and they still got their nation state. And we're like, yes, exactly. And then look how it turned out. Like, these are the examples we're looking at and saying, okay, well, let's maybe have a bit of a better plan. And then we look at examples that did have a good plan, a good basis, a good foundation, and saw the success rates that they were able to achieve as a result of having a good solid foundation mentally when approaching statecraft. So yeah, it's a silly point. The second one is it would be like Maharaja Ranjit Singh's Raj, which is another deeply flawed answer for a number of reasons, which we've covered in the past. I might do more posts on it as well. But I don't want to bash Maharaja Ranjit Singh so much because he was able to achieve so much in his time. He was a very competent individual. But despite that, obviously there's some deep mistakes that were made that we, from a kind of macro perspective, sort of signed that, and sort of we sort of say that, okay, well, the fact that it was centralized at all basically allowed us to put all our eggs in one basket. So when we dropped the basket, all our eggs got smashed. So that's what we sort of saw. So yes, it could be like Maharaja Ranjit Singh's Raj, but recognise that Maharaja Ranjit Singh's Raj was not a nation state. It existed in the prior empire world order model, not this new nation state one. And 2, it did only last like 50 years. And 3, we actually have a very romanticised view of the Raj as well, that we sort of like deluded ourselves into thinking. There were some parts of it that are not very palatable, I guess, for a lot of audiences today. And it seems to be the reaction to this is that they sort of ignore it. So yeah. 3, some type of socialist model or Keynesian type middle grounding would be suggested. So you see a lot of this where people who haven't really understood the topic area that much, or not really spent much time thinking about the economic systems in particular, they sort of just generally take a middle ground approach to it. And to me, it's a bit of an intellectual laziness. Like, for example, you wouldn't ask somebody, okay, well, how much lime should you put in my milk before I drink it? The answer is 0. Like, you wouldn't want any. But the kind of approach we have when it comes to political economic models, we say, oh no, we should have a little bit of this, we should have a little bit of socialism, we should have a little bit of capitalism, we should find a middle ground between the two. And it's like, well, no, why would you assume that the middle ground is therefore the true position? It's actually, if you go to, a bit of a plug here, but if you go to logicnumber.com, you will find one of the fallacies, the logical fallacies that we have curated for Sikhs to study is the middle ground fallacy right here. And here it talks about the idea that simply taking the middle ground and assuming that's the correct position is fallacious, it's fallacious reasoning. And we give the example of a debate arises in the Sangat about whether to continue the traditional practice of reading Guru Granth Sahib Ji in Gurmukhi or replace it with a complete English translation for younger generations. One group argues that preserving Gurmukhi is essential to maintaining the integrity of the teachings, while another group believes translating everything into English will make it more accessible to younger members. A third group suggests a compromise, translating half of Guru Granth Sahib into English while keeping the other half in Gurmukhi, claiming this middle ground is the best solution. And obviously this is ridiculous. Unless you can argue otherwise, please do argue otherwise, but we find this ridiculous. And then we explain why this is an example of the middle ground fallacy here. So again, logicnumber.com is an example, is a resource here for the Sangat to use as a reference guide whenever they're engaging in debate, in Vichaar, in discussion, or even self-reflection, like, am I doing any of these logical fallacies? Or is the news I'm listening to on the TV, are they performing any logical fallacies? One example of this recently was the Joe Rogan debate that he hosted with Dave Smith, the Libertarian, and Douglas Murray, the neoconservative. And there's a clip from there. I remember I was going to make a post from this as well, but I've not got around to it yet. But they sort of like complain, oh, you're doing an appeal to authority, and then like, no, that's not an appeal to authority. And I was just thinking, oh yeah, we've got actually that right here on our logic number, the appeal to authority. We can actually just go check up what the appeal to authority actually is and see who's actually committing it. So that's just an example of Sikhs being able to use this as a reference guide in which to assess what they're hearing. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, it was a bit of an embarrassing performance from Douglas Murray's behalf. I actually generally have enjoyed listening to Douglas Murray on various topics for a while. I think I don't quite agree with him on everything. He is most certainly a kind of nationalist, and that label neoconservative does ring true with his support of various wars that I probably wouldn't support. But yeah, he did really embarrass himself in that thing. But yeah. Okay, cool. Before we move on, I did want to give a update, or it's not our update, but an update from the Sablo outpost, Sablo Heritage outpost, which, if you're not following, you probably should. If I Google it here, Sablo, here it is. So these guys done something pretty incredible, and actually, Aziz Squad, if you're here, I'll invite you to the stage to give a quick update about something that you released recently. Let me quickly, yeah. You should get a notification to pop up. Cool, can you hear me? Oh, give me a second, I don't think I can hear you. Okay, try again now. Sorry for the. Give me 1 second to make sure everyone on YouTube can hear you. I think they should. Just give me a second. Discord audio. Oh yeah. Okay, do you want to try again?
Yeah, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, feel free to give a update as he's scored, and I'll show the page in the background.
Okay, so I'm going to introduce who we are first of all.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to talk about what we have going on over the next few months. So Sablo Heritage Outpost, which we call the Outpost for short, is basically a Sikh intentional community with two goals. Number one, generating soft power for the Singharsh. And number two, helping other Amritai individuals establish their own intentional communities or spaces with the same objective of generating soft power. The outpost itself is based in New Mexico, but we serve all of basically the US and Canada, maybe one day the UK, but right now it's the US and Canada. I'm not going to go too much into detail about these things because our website's available and our comprehensive plan is also available on the website as well. I'm going to go over kind of the timeline we have for the next 2 years. So if you go to page 24 in our comprehension plan, you'll see that with our timeline starting in May, so May is starting this week, to October, our focus really is on developing our infrastructure as well as our land that we have in New Mexico. Around August, though, we're going to start preparing for our North American tour, in which we'll be hosting the Lakar Challenge, which is a 3-day challenge happening around significant dates in the Singars, in which we live off-grid in certain nature spots, similar to how the Khalsa would have lived during certain periods of time. The experience is meant to give the participants a taste of the outpost and Sikh intentional communities in general. So I would say for those who are listening and you live in Canada or you live in the US and you're interested, message me like what province or state you're in so that when I'm going over, okay, what locations we want to go to, I can take that into consideration when finalizing locations. And lastly, of course, if you have any questions about the project, you can either message me or, you can take a look at the comprehensive plan, which is pretty thorough and should answer most people's questions. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Cisco. Thank you. Yeah, this is pretty incredible. So just to reiterate, do read through this. Do get involved if you're interested. This is Statecraft in action. These are the real tangible steps being made. So it's what Azaadism is really about on the ground level. So it's incredible effort that's been going on into producing this outpost, and it'll be really interesting to see how it develops over time. So Bunga members especially, if you want to see a real life case study of Azaadism in practice, this is what it is. From our perspective at least. So it would be really cool to support Aziz Squad and the efforts with Sablo heritage outpost, and hopefully the Bunga can help out in any way we can. But definitely get involved, guys. Generally, this is an incredible project. This is Statecraft, right? Like actually Statecraft. So yeah, do get in touch with C Squad if you're interested, and yeah, I guess we'll move on and follow her Substack as well. A lot of cool Vichaars on here as well. So yeah, definitely follow along. So yeah, let's continue with the monthly updates. So what else did we do this month? So that was the Samvar document we just went through. Oh, but I don't know. Oh yeah, we did this post. This is something I generated probably in 15 minutes. It's a little experiment. I came across on the Instagram post talking about ChatGPT's new image generation features. So I wanted to try it. So I gave it a painting of Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj and a prompt that I found online regarding like making marble busts, essentially. And then I just put some text on and posted it. I was like, let's see how that does, right? Let's see if people find it interesting. Turns out people did. It became a very popular post, but also in some regards controversial. Some people thought we were promoting some kind of idol worship. So I did want to reply to some of these, but I was like, probably not worth doing it. But if you find this to be an idol, simply just don't worship it then. Like, what is the issue? It's just like a AI generated thing. So I think it's pretty cool. But obviously some people don't, but big deal in it, like whatever it is what it is. These things are going to happen regardless. I think we as Sikhs should engage in the latest developments in technology in general, but also in arts and craft. There's nothing that's going to beat handmade, handcrafted paintings. Someone I like following is Kapoor Saab. There he is. This one's really good. I like his page a lot. Very, very beautiful art some of this is. Like the mediums he uses, the way he makes them, the fonts as well. Amazing, right? So these are really good. I don't know if AI is ever going to beat something like this. But, there's always going to be a place for this, and we as a band should support our artists who are putting the effort to do this kind of stuff. But for I guess a quick whatever things as well, like stuff like this is pretty interesting. Just to have a case study thing. I don't know how much we'll do this, but yeah, it was a little cool experiment. Another experiment that we did post wise was this reel of Naren Singh Jora, who tried to shoot to death Bahadal in the Agatab. In fact, there was an article we did on Substack on his activity a little while back. Let me see if I can find it very quickly. If I go to bunga.com. Yeah, I remember Sikh in Court Game Singh. He also did. He also wrote about this, I think, on his Twitter, and I took that into account when I was writing as well. Because initially I was like, "Oh yeah, cool, right, here it is." But then I think Game Singh's position on this is a bit more mature. There he is trying to shoot him, and then like, come on, man, if you're gonna do it right. But yeah, but Jal, it is what it is, right? But yeah, I mean, yeah. So Game Singh gave a pretty mature take on this. Just realised actually, just looking at this is the guy I believe behind the Jangi Awaz page. So last bit of foreshadowing there in Bunga Azaadi law for what's happening next. But yeah, so I do recommend this article to get kind of my views on the whole situation. I think is a pretty balanced perspective, to be honest. So yeah, he came out of jail recently. I don't know. I was a bit shocked as well, like he got out of jail so quickly doing attempted murder. But yeah, so he's out and he was given this interview. And then I thought, okay, let's just clip the interview and then put it on the page because he mentioned Azaadi quite a lot. And as Bunga Azaadi and the people who made Azadism the philosophy, I thought it might be cool to give a comment on it and sort of like use this as a bit of a propaganda piece for us. So I'll put his clip up. He's talking about Azaadi and how Khalsa should be. Like we should be teaching like how Khalsa like this is how it works kind of thing, like we should be a role model for others essentially, and I do agree with that. I think that's a very positive way to think about this. It's a very optimistic way, and we do need the optimism, especially myself. I can be very cynical when it comes to my critique of Khalistan and these kind of things, but it's ultimately from a good place. I'm critical because I care. So same thing we can see in this post as well. So I give him his clip, and then I also say, yeah, but the devil is in the details, and then I offer a solution. So I'm not just pointing out, and this is very critical for the way we should be thinking as well. I think as Khalsa, we shouldn't just be pointing out problems and moaning about them. We should be offering a solution. So this is generally a kind of rule I've been trying to implement ever since starting this project, that if I don't like something and I find something to be problematic, then I'm not going to call it out without offering an alternative or an alternative solution or an idea. Just simply being a negative Nancy, it's not very productive. So having these things in place as well, in addition, I think is very important. So yeah, there's that. Then what else did we do? Bunga Azaadi community update. So this is a big one. So we really did a massive reformatting of how the Bunga Azaadi Discord server works. I'm wary of like, especially at this stage where we're quite small in following and that kind of stuff as well. We don't really need a big social media community site type thing at this point, especially when we're like, it's difficult to moderate as well, and we want to make sure we have professional environments. So even if the quantity is less, as long as the quality is high, that's kind of how we prioritize things. So we wanted to apply this kind of same logic to the Bunga Azaadi Discord server. So we ran this experiment of okay, we'll provide this kind of fancy group chat, we'll have forums in it, whatever. And fair enough, like for the vast majority of the time it was quite nice. It was good to see and fun to see a lot of the discussions and even some of the disagreements, etc. But there was also a bit of a struggle trying to make sure we don't get some very highly extremist elements permeating. And the reason why this is important is because whilst me personally, I don't mind hearing extreme views on things. I believe what's that saying? Sunlight is the best medicine or something like that. Like basically having things out in the open rather than brushing things under the carpet or suppressing things is generally the better way to do it, because when it's out in the open, then the policy should be, okay, well, they made their stance clear, debunk it, right? If we disagree with this sort of thing. If that's extreme, let's prove it as extreme. And I think that's generally the way to deal with things, but practically and pragmatically, we've also got to think of ourselves as an institution as well, and that fact that if we have certain ideologies permeating our spaces, it could jeopardize members and also jeopardize the longevity of our grand strategy, which has to become first. So we're not already living in the Azadist ideal, we're trying to get to the Azadist ideal, so we shouldn't be bound to the ideals to get there. That wouldn't make sense strategically to do such. Like another example is lobbying. So as an Azadist, Azadism philosophy is heavily against the concept of lobbying. However, we would definitely engage in lobbying if we had the means to, and we encourage those who do have the means to do so in a positive manner for right change, because these are simply the tools in which to conduct statecraft today. So it would be fools not to do it. So yeah, but once we get to the stage where we are in positions of power and influence in which we can craft society to our liking, then yeah, we'd outlaw things like lobbying and corporate political activity and bribery of that kind. But until you're there, you can't refuse to play and still expect to win the game. So yeah, the Bunga Azaadi Discord server, we tried it, wanted to change it the way it works, so there's some sort of bit backstories there. So we pivoted the way it works, so now you have to have a application form to get in. It's not a very difficult application form, especially not how difficult it used to be to get into the Bunga. But what we have now in the Bunga is clearance levels. So once you get in, you should be able to comment in the forums. And once you commented and participated enough, that gives us a good indication of your ability to articulate yourself, especially disagreements too, in a respectful, professional manner, not in an immature way. And then that says, okay, well, he's all right. Okay, let's give him posting right. So you level up to clearance level 2, and now you can make your own posts. You can maybe watch the podcast and you want to give your thoughts on it, or maybe you've just got a Vichaar that's you've been wrestling around with in your head. Then you can make these posts as well, and then get the Sangat's kind of view in the Discord server. Once you've done enough quality posts, you'll then rank up to level 3. You'll be sort of headhunted and say, oh, he's quite good, let's get him into level 3. At that level 3, that's the kind of like where the private group chat starts kicking in. You get access to that. And then we can also then support whoever wants to at this point with if they want to go off and become their own independent Vicharak, so one who contemplates. We can help them establish their own pages, their own Substack, their own Instagram, give them a little boost at the start for whatever limited capacity we can help out with, and especially establish themselves. I don't believe in this idea that everything has to get the Bunga branding all over it and like, everything has to come under the Bunga. I like the idea of missalization. I'm heavy towards decentralization, right? So the more we can spread out, the more we can become independent and sovereign in our own right, the better. Makes our band more resilient. So yeah, more than happy to collaborate with us, with the Vichaars, but then more than happy for you guys to go off and do your own thing as well. And we want to help support that and facilitate that. So the Bunga Azaadi Discord server is now a bit of a filtering process, a bit of a Vicharic incubation program. And we'll push this a bit more over the next month as well, explain a bit further. But yeah, that's kind of the Discord server. That's why we had massive changes recently. There's also other things as well we've got in the pipeline that we might consider and that might be related to this, but we'll announce that in due time. Another really interesting piece that was submitted to us by Jagveer Singh from the Bunga. He gave us this piece. It was his master's thesis, I believe, or his dissertation he wrote when he was studying his master's in Sikh theology and that kind of stuff. And one of the debate questions or the essay questions he received was this: that some writers suggest that Guru Gobind Singh did not preach the message of Guru Nanak. Discuss how the creation of the Khalsa Panth shows this to be incorrect. So Jagveer Singh took a stab at this, and he produced a very excellent piece going through and debunking that claim and showing why the Guru Khalsa actually proves Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj's philosophy was fundamentally the same, that they were the same people, or the same Jyotis, sorry. So yeah, that is that. So you can find that piece on our Substack. It's a Substack exclusive. Given its size, I couldn't fit it all onto an Instagram post. But you can read that here. This was quite a popular post actually, so it's a very successful one for us as a Bunga to have this, and we were a massive honour for us to host this in our Vichar repository, which you can find in the Khalsa Revival, Khalsa Namma, Khalsa Mindset, and Khalsa Mentality section. That's the kind of like breadcrumb trail you can follow. You can find the whole Vichar here as well. Feel free to review it, give your thoughts, that kind of thing. So yeah, there's that. Okay, what else we did this month? So we are now accepting patronage for the Bunga. So somebody said in the comment section, another dream of a utopian society, just like the words of Karl Marx, Islamic Caliphate, etc. Which is ironic because we're extremely antithetical to both those things. We've got the complete opposites of them ideologically. But people forget that these claims are just meant to be imaginative, limited to the paper. Nothing is ever going to happen like that. So then I said, challenge accepted. So we've got our vision and our sort of like roadmaps and stuff that we're mapping out and trying to progress. So yeah, let's see. It's very easy to say something like this, and he has every right to. Really, we should be responding with results, and until we have results, we're going to carry on getting stuff like this. So it's well within his right to say such a thing, and as I just said, it's up to us now as Khalsa Panthis to produce something that makes it undeniable that we have produced success in these fields. The only reason something like this could be said is because we haven't got the results. So I don't blame the guy at all for saying such a thing. This is a kick up the backside for a lot of us. So we then said, if you want to help us put our theory into practice, so we've got a lot of theory, pretty robust theory, I would say, debate tested, and therefore we want to have more debates to test it. But we are pretty confident with the resilience of it, and I say that as a challenge. So like if you find any holes in it, get in touch, let's rectify it and make it better. But yeah, we have a kind of 5-phase grand strategy for Khalsa Raj that we're progressing. And we're kind of on the kind of phase 2 part of it, which is related to building soft power behind the scenes, and also gearing up our phase 3, which is kind of what Dharmyud Pipeline is the public face of at the moment. But to help us out and accelerate through our phases quicker, we are now open to patronage. So something you might hear me say often is that if you want something to be sustainable, then you must establish an economy for it. So right now the Bunga is led by passion and like we're doing it at our own times, voluntary. But really we need to start expanding and transition away from being essentially a glorified blog and becoming a bit more of a formal research institute. And we have ideas how to do this, but we need to get the fund in order to do it, or some kind of finances and funds in. And right now we're open to patronage. So if you do believe in what we're doing, and you like what we're doing on the same wavelength, and you want to see us to put our theory into practice, then do consider becoming a patron of the Bunga, the same way how kings in the past would offer patronage to the court philosophers and the theologians and stuff of their time in order to conduct research and development, that sort of stuff. If the Khalsa wants this sort of stuff, then please prove it with your finances, right? And then give us a portion of this fund, and then we'll put it to good use. Put it to very good use. We have set up a UK registered community interest company, social enterprise, so it's all accountable, all transparent. We're not going to be doing dodgy things with people's money and then claiming, oh, we were never a charity, all that kind of stuff. Right now, we're doing it properly, professionally. It's a very strong motto of the Bunga is to be professional, essentially, and this is our attempt at doing that. So yeah, if you'd like to pledge and become a patron, then help us out. So there's that. The link in the bio to do that is our Substack. So literally come to Substack and subscribe. You'll get like a thing, and you can choose the level of subscription you like. So in the future, we'll probably start doing some. We've got some planned already, but we'll start having some members only, patron only benefits, like discounts to things or exclusive access to things. You'll also probably get the grand strategy presentation stuff early as well. So again, if you're a patron, you'll get a lot of this stuff. You'll be quite closer. So yeah. This is a post we did, Vaisakhi instructions. So it was Vaisakhi this month, with the sort of like, we did a post regarding the instructions to the Khalsa from Guru Gobind Singh Ji on Vaisakhi, and we sort of like took the excerpt from Rata Singh Pangu's Band Prakash, episode 15, I believe it was, in which they relay this account. So most of this translation is from the Kulwant Singh translation. I did make some modifications to it here a little bit, roughly. I'm not an expert translator, but and actually the proof of that is that I got told afterwards that actually one of these words, yeah. This is a bit of a controversial take, so I didn't know this. Obviously, I was relying on the Kulwant Singh thing translation, and also Baba Santa Singh Steek. So I was looking at that as I was translating. Again, roughly, I wasn't doing a proper thing. I don't think I have the skills to do a proper thing, but apparently in the original manuscripts, one of the lines, it says here Piyo Sudha. That Sudha is a kind of an edit that by Veer Singh, sort of like edited the Band Prakash. But in the older sort of manuscripts, you find the word Sukha, and then you find footnotes in those older manuscripts, which saying that the original manuscript says the word Sharab instead. So yeah, take that as you will. Just take that as you will. So, I think it's important as a band we just sort of like, we shouldn't be editing original texts. We should leave them as it is. And then if you disagree with something, or you want to say, okay, well, this should be explained a bit more in a different way or whatever, then add it as a footnote or a kind of like a separate document. Don't edit the original. Like, why would you do that? Like, even if we understand, okay, well, that's the certain thing's view on this particular thing, that's fine, but like, why edit it? Don't edit things. I'm seeing this happen all the time with things like even Katha now as well, right? When people are doing Bantarkash Katha, and then they're going through and they're skipping Panktis that they find problematic because they're Samprada or they're Babas, got a different view. And then there's not just lines they're skipping, there's whole episodes they skip. And it's like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's disrespectful, I believe, to the Sangat, that, oh yeah, we know better, Sangat are dumb, therefore we need to tell them the right way of doing things, and we got it right. It's very arrogant to do something like that. Okay, I say it's arrogant, but really, like, look, they're doing it out of compassion. They think, oh, Ababa said so, he knows better, and therefore we Namrata and it, like, Das, this, whatever, who the hell are we to question things? Let's just not tell the Sangat, because then they're going to get dubbed, they're going to get doubt, and they're going to break their Sharda. I get the motivation there, but I've also find it very disrespectful at the same time to insult the Sangat's intelligence, that they can't figure things out for themselves. And if you're going to treat the Pant like babies, then they're going to behave and think like babies, and then we'll have a Panta babies, which is what we have. A very emotional, lacking intelligence, lacking logic and reason. This is what we've got from the kind of mollycoddling people have done. Give the Panta it is, we're strong enough, we're resilient enough to take the truth. So yeah. So there's that post. This one did very popular on Substack. We did a podcast version of this. You might see this in some of our posts coming forward as well. We're going to do more of these kind of long format posts. We might do them on Instagram like this, and I'll just write it all out. But really, we're going to start prioritizing Substack a lot more going forward as well. It's a better platform. It's a more professional one. And it cultivates a better audience as well, we found. So this is the better way to do Vichaar. So you can come in. I've read it out with my mumbly voice, so you can listen to me reading out the Vichaar itself in the kind of intended emphases as well, because I know tone gets lost with text as well. So if you want to hear me read the Vichars that I produce, then subscribe to our Substack, and obviously we recorded it, right? So you can read it, you can listen to it on the train, when you're driving, whatever, right? And then let us know your thoughts at the bottom as well, right? Leave your comments down. Give us your views. Give us your feedback. So yeah, this Vichar was basically a statement that the Sikh Federation UK released, a kind of letter saying, oh yeah, the act isn't sort of like a guard that NSG please control. We need to get the guard back, all this kind of stuff, right? And I think just the philosophical foundations here, I just disagree with fundamentally that we have to focus so much attention on trying to get the meeting place sorted. It's just a meeting place. Like it's the actions you conduct after you conduct the meeting that's more important. It doesn't actually matter where you do the meeting. So if the meeting place is corrupted or there's the wrong people there managing it, then simply use a different meeting place. And you don't need to get the whole band on board and then do something. Do something first, and then naturally, organically, those who recognize the value in what you're doing, they'll they'll come around you, they'll align with you, you'll form ekta with them. You don't need to have band-wide 100% consensus. One, because it's just not how things get done, and two, it's unrealistic. Anyway, you're never going to get 100% consensus. Not even the gurus had 100% ekta. This is why you had the Ramrai and Minas, all the kinds of split off. So if the gurus were going to achieve it, what's to say that we now, with 28 million, 30 million Sikhs, are going to achieve this band-wide ekta? It's ridiculous. So instead, let's decentralize a little bit. Think a bit more in terms of missiles. Think more in terms of, okay, where I put my foot is a takht. And also think in terms of, let me get stuff done first. Build a kind of MVP. Fail fast. And then validate the idea with those around us. And then if it's got traction, if it's got demand, then pick it up and move with it, and then adjust it with feedback. If it doesn't have demand, if it doesn't have the traction, all that kind of stuff, then drop it and move on to something else, try something different. So that's the kind of mindset, a very entrepreneurial mindset we start adopting. This is a very old, not an old traditional sense, but a kind of 20th century way of thinking, and I don't think it's done us very good. But again, I respect the Sikh Federation for trying to mobilise and doing what they think is right. But really, what they really need to do, in my opinion, is a better call to action is actually provide avenues and spaces in which we can do Vichar openly and express lots of different points of view, and also then put in resources to actually get real things done. Happy to support, happy to give guidance from the Bunga's perspective, but really what we're going to do as a Bunga is carry on doing our strategy of things and growing as we can and seeing the results sort of speak for itself, essentially. They try it their way, we try it our ways. Let's see who gets close to Castle Raj in 10 years. That's my mindset with a lot of this. So, okay, that was that. Feel free to read that. I'm very, very, I went to a conference actually on yesterday, an SEC one, and it was a really good conference. Some cool speakers attended, and they sort of gave their views on the Agadat and the Jathadari, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I wish I could have was given the opportunity to speak at this event and I give my views on the Akata, because I still think mine are the most solid ones. I did try to accost some of the speakers afterwards, after their speaker, trying to debate them on this. They didn't seem interested in debating. And they were like, if you don't man it, that's fine. And I was like, okay, yeah, but then that's fine. But then will you guys stop me if I stop spreading this? But yeah, read through it. Let me know if you guys are getting disagreements with it. This is a big narrative thing we do push, that the Akatat, or the Pujaris specifically who squat the Akatat building, don't actually have any real legitimacy. Sikhs don't have any popes, we don't need one. The Khalsa is the Guru. The decentralized body of the Khalsa is its own authority. Each Singh, wherever he steps, is his own Jathadar. So that's the mindset I'm approaching things with. That's what I've understood the Guru Gobind Singh Ji's point was when he made the Khalsa the Guru. I don't think we need to centralize power and centralize authority into a single building that can get very easily captured by corrupt interests that actually don't serve the Khalsa Band. So yeah. Okay, what do we do next? Then I just made a little reel from it. Let me know if you like these things, right? Because it informs the kind of posting and stuff we do. So do give us your feedback. This is very easy to make actually because the recording was already made and I just put a little picture there. It's a very cool actual miniature painting that was. It was I've never seen. I don't think I've seen any miniature paintings of by Madhab Singh going to go and cut off Masaranga's head. Like you can see there's someone there in the background, the dancing girl and Masaranga whatever, sort of sitting there. These guys coming on the horse. I don't know if I can pause this. Alright, yeah, it's the guys coming on the horse. And a very interesting thing with miniature paintings is that it depicts a lot in a small space. So like you'll see the same characters popping up in the same scene. And you'll see that with a lot of miniature paintings. It's a very interesting way to tell a story without having like many paintings, like a comic book. It's like it's all in one frame kind of thing. It's pretty clever. So yeah. Okay, another one is that we got asked to do the Vaisakhi in the Square London podcast, which is pretty. I was pretty pleased that we got invited to do it, and we spoke there about Azadism quite a bit. Actually, really good. The guy who interviewed Manpreet Singh, this one here, brilliant interviewer. His questions were very good. So yeah, I would definitely recommend following this guy and keep an eye on sort of like what he does and that, etc. Hopefully he edits the podcast soon and makes it available, and then you guys can see me talk about Azadism, the Bunga, and the future of Sikh statecraft and sovereignty, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I did enjoy doing this. I probably will start trying to do more of these podcasts. There is another podcast I did a couple of months ago. I think he's going to edit it and make it available somewhat soon too. I did one with Mal Killer. Very interesting conversation with him. I like him quite a bit, so he's got a cool Instagram page you should follow as well. Actually, I'll shout him out here. So Mal, yeah, here it is, Mulki Kang. So yeah, follow Mal. He's got some good views. I like a lot of his views. I like it. And then the other guy who interviewed me was Jyoti K. Yeah, here he goes. His audience is actually quite a lot of non-Sikhs as well. So this will be a cool way to see how non-Sikhs react to Azadism and Bunga Azaadi. Which is something I'm considering of doing more of going forward as well, trying to make a lot of the Bunga Azaadi outputs more available to non-Sikhs and get more non-Sikhs kind of involved at some level. Because precisely that's what the Gurus were doing as well. They're going around preaching to, teaching, doing Vichaar with, debating with non-Sikhs. So why are we so insular? Like it's kind of anti-Sikhi to be so insular. Like Sikhi itself is like probably the world's first secular religion. Like it's kind of oxymoronic to say. Paradoxical, but I think it is what it is. So yeah, follow Jyoti Singh as well. Okay, where else we got? So and disagrees, guy put bad. I think that was it, right? Oh, that's okay. So I announced the Darbar the other day. This is another post we did. This one was on the so Sabro Institute, another page worth following. The world's first Sikh defense think tank, defense and security think tank. This is a very good page, very good Vichaars, high level Vichaars, very much needed as well for our time. So do follow this page, do support them, do read their Vichaars on Substack as well. This is the kind of Vichaars we're very long overdue having. So very brilliant, some of this stuff. So what the author did, I'm not sure if he still wants to say Gupta or not, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he does. So what the author did, he asked Grok, the Grok AI, about how we sort of like dismantle and destroy Sikhi, and this is the kind of response it gave. And he also gives some suggestions of how to do some countermeasures against what it suggested. So definitely worth reviewing these, and these are all project areas to pick up for anyone interested. Like each one of these can turn into projects of themselves, and this makes some tangible efforts towards securing and making Sikhi bulletproof to external threats. So definitely look into that. I then also, to help promote it a little bit as well, and also give my thoughts. I gave my thoughts here in this piece. Oops, wrong one. On Substack again. So again, Substack is where it's at. So if you're not on Substack, what are you doing? So where is it? Here it is. Oh, here it is. It's a highlighted one. So yeah, again, another one where I've recorded my voice reading through the Vichaar itself. And I gave my thoughts specifically on the idea of Grok sort of suggesting that you should sow division and cause mistrust into institutions. So I wanted to moderate this stance and sort of like push back a little bit and sort of say like not all division is bad. Sometimes it's quite necessary. The same way how division with the Masans was necessary at the time for the flourishing of the Panth proper. Also division with the Bandai Sikhs, division with the Minas, the Ramraye. These are sometimes not, we don't need ekta with everyone, especially you don't need ekta with a tumour. So if something's causing damage to the rest of the healthy body, you should cut it out. So that's the kind of motivation. Obviously there is a concept of beard, from Sam down the beard, a kind of like Jankya Niti kind of philosophy. So it is worth keeping this in mind. I talk about it here. I talk about it a bit more in detail here as well in this Vichaar we've done on the punishment for Bayadbi. One of the sections actually is on this, and I talk about it in that context. Bit more of a offensive tactic actually in this scenario. How do we use these against people who commit Bayadbi or sacrilege? So that's something like that. So that's another strategic piece to listen to if you want to get some idea about that. Okay, and what else we got? Internship. Okay, this should be one of the last. Yeah, that's the last thing. So the internship is an opportunity to volunteer with the Bunga Azaadi, the Sikh think tank. So if you're looking for, if you've got some spare time and you want to help us out, especially in administrative capacity, lots of opportunities available, lots of activities to get involved with. Recently just onboarded one intern before going onto this call. So yeah, if you are interested, get in touch. I'm going to do some limited places for now, just so we can get it right the first time, see how it goes, etc. It's very flexible how we're going to run this. So we'll do it kind of like, we'll have like weekly or every 2 weeks we're going to have a catch up, or however it sort of like works for you guys, whatever you want to do. We'll set some tasks, we'll set some projects to get worked on, some responsibilities to take up, that kind of stuff to support the Bunga, and then that way you can it's kind of build a kind of portfolio for yourself. So if you're going for like interviews and stuff, you can say, oh yeah, I work with Bunga Azaadi, this Institute for Azadi Studies, and I helped out in this project, and I helped out with this advocacy campaign, I helped out with this marketing thing, or I did research for this, or I managed this project. So we can give you these things to do, and just get in touch, we'll come to discussion, and we'll make it work around you. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Bunga this month. Let's cover some questions anyone might have in the chat, or if not, I'll go through our questions that were submitted. So yeah, let's have a look. Damn, you guys have a group chat without me. Are you not in the group chat, Ruben Singh? If you're not, I'll add you in. I might have missed you out. We did a big purge, right? So things got, we've removed loads of chats. We cut things out, we put people out, all that kind of stuff. Oh, okay. I probably forgot to put you in the higher level. I'll put you in, Ruben Singh. You might enjoy being in that one. Okay, so what else we got? Are any of you guys actually trained in martial arts? I think you need to prove that as well as equally. Yeah, quite a few of us have engaged in martial arts. I've personally did Shastra Vidya a bit before. I used to do Taekwondo when I was younger, and then I did karate for a bit and kickboxing. And then I joined up doing some Shastra Vidya and boxing as well. And then I stopped around COVID time, and I've picked up now doing firearms. So I've got my firearms license. I should go on more often, to be fair, but lately I've been doing more like the shotgun clays, pigeon shooting, that sort of stuff, or clay pigeons. I want to do real pigeons at some point. I did try doing rabbit hunting, but the land we got was crap, so we never got any rabbits. But yeah, so I'm currently on the kind of shooting part of martial arts at the moment. So yeah, but other guys in the Bunga and stuff, some people I know are very into it. There's quite a few guys who are really into it. Some of the guys are actually in the military itself. So yeah, we want to try and create a cohesive environment where everyone comes in with all their skill sets. So we have people in martial arts, people in intellectual, academic backgrounds, that kind of stuff. This is what Sangat is really about. There's an idea we have that we want to develop at some point called a Diyar kind of tracker, and it's kind of a self-assessment form you fill in, and it kind of it kind of shows you where you've got your strengths in and where you got your weaknesses in, and then that can help you decide what Sangat to have with people. So if you're weak in a certain area, then you can go find someone who's strong in that area, and then you have Sangat with each other, kind of thing, make up for each other's weaknesses, and then build upon each other's strength. Just like a military unit, like an army, everyone does the same role. You need a multitude of roles. And in fact, in modern warfare, it seems to me from my research that supply chains and logistics are probably one of the most important aspects of modern warfare, and getting that right, like having project managers. Intelligence is also a massive thing now as well. So it's not just boots on the ground, go shoot someone. It's actually, no, you have to have this whole infrastructure around it as well. That's necessary for any success in these fields. So yeah, good question. Would like to become a patron and see a bit where this fund is used more specifically if possible. Are you talks with Mal Jyoti available to watch? Yeah, they are. So Jyoti Singh's still editing my podcast with him. So he'll make that available, and I'll share it on the Azaadism Instagram and Substack when it's alive, as well as just follow his page, or he'll also announce it. With Mal, yes, if you go to YouTube, I believe. In fact, if you message me afterwards, I'll send you the link properly. I'll go find it now. But yeah, send me a message afterwards, and I'll send you the direct link to mine and Mal's conversation. So an hour long. It wasn't too long, but it was a very good one. Covered quite a lot of questions. He was also a very good interviewer. So is Jyoti as well, which you'll see. I'm pretty impressed. I mean, I need to get more into this kind of like, how do you do a good interview with someone? Because I think we should start doing some of these as well. So I'm going to be learning off these guys. Yeah, any other questions from the chats? No, if not, I'm going to go for the anonymous questions that we got. We'll do a couple of them this month, and then might do the rest next month. Okay, so there was one interesting question we'll start with first. Should a Sikh girl wear whatever she wants, or should she at least be covered? Now, I would like to hope that girls of all kinds are covered in some way. I think the question here is how much. So I guess the Sharia law Muslim kind of like hardcore fundamentalists, they have a philosophy of cover everything but the eyes, and even that should be covered, I guess. Kind of like no skin should be showing. In fact, the girl shouldn't even go outside the house in sort of like Taliban neighborhoods. So that's one extreme, and then in the West you have another extreme where the girl sort of goes out with practically no clothes on apart from like a bikini, even in the presence of family members. So that's like another extreme. So I guess my position would be somewhere not near either of those extremes. In particular with Barda as well, like I can't remember which guru it was. Was it Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj? Please correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the chat. But they also were against Muslim ladies sort of covering them up to this next level extent. They refused to see them until they lifted their parda kind of thing. That's an example from Sikh Itihas, although I need to verify if that's even true, because a lot of Itihas and Sakis we hear that just basically some Baba made it up on the stage one time. So we need to do some stuff. But yeah, if anyone knows of that Saki and can verify it, let us know. But yeah, I don't think that's the route to go, to completely cover them up. I don't think the route to go is like make them completely borderline nude either. I think there should be some bit of self-respect there. But at the same time, as per my Azaadist views, I wouldn't allow the state to impose any ruling on anyone in this nature. Everyone should have the freedom to have kind of like autonomy over themselves and what they wear and that kind of stuff. What you might get is gated communities that might set policies for themselves and say, okay, well, in our gated communities, we expect this kind of decorum or code of conduct, and therefore everyone should wear a suit, maybe, everyone should be wearing this colour, or maybe everyone should be wearing at this level, or they could keep it relaxed and be a kind of nudist colony. It's up to them. If you own the property and everyone in that property in that community is participating voluntarily, you should be able to set whatever laws you want, provided they do not impede a non-consenting third party. So yeah, I'm pretty. That's my state level views, and then my personal views is cover up a little bit. Come on, have some shame. You don't need to go to extreme to the hijab, sort of like how the Muslim have done it. But yeah, I mean that's kind of my views. I don't have very strong views. I think this should be another question for like you should ask a girl as well what they think as well, because obviously as a boy I don't have those experiences as well. So yeah, that's what I want to say in that question. So hopefully that answers it. If not, reach out again and disagree with me or ask me some clarifying questions. So next question I wanted to cover was where is it? This is quite an old question. I didn't cover it at the time, so I'll go for my backlog a little bit. So when exactly is violence in terms of state or armed warfare, army warfare allowed/permissible? I know that Guru said to use it only as a last resort when other means have been exhausted, But in the case of a country, militia, armed groups, there are a lot more political, economic, religious, ideological, etc. factors to put in. And also these organizations can number in the thousands or millions, i.e., in other words, would it be okay, quote unquote, for an armed group to initiate an attack with both defensive reasons to ensure a group's survival, but also because it furthers their political might? Both of these can also feed each other. Very interesting question. It's a very nuanced question. I think I need more time to vichar on it properly. But one thing I'll say for now is that any targeting of non-combatants, in any regard, like if that's to further a political aim, or if that's to get revenge and that kind of stuff, I think it's illegitimate from a compassion perspective. I'm not a big believer in this collective karma thing. I don't like it at all. I think, especially as Khalsa, if we're meant to be this enlightened force, we should really behave in it and hold ourselves to a standard far above other military groups and stuff in the world. What makes us the Khalsa, what makes us distinct. Otherwise, we're just another uniform performing the exact same acts. And I think then at that point, what is the point? So yeah, the risk with me saying that is we could potentially harm our effectiveness in certain scenarios, and in my response to that would be, do your best not to get into those scenarios in the first place. And this is why things like having intelligence agencies are extremely important. I watched a TV show recently called The Spy by Sacha Baron Cohen, I think his name is, the guy who played Ali G and Borat. So this was a serious TV show, and it talks about an Israeli spy who went undercover in Syria. I really recommend watching this. I really do recommend everyone watching this one. It's very good depiction of what's going on, and the kind of like effect an intelligence agency and intelligence operative can have, and how that effect can multiply. It just shows the power of having intelligence, that if you know something, if you know your enemy's secrets, you have the potential to save many, many lives, or also cause damage as well to the enemy in a way that you wouldn't ordinarily would if you're just doing conventional kind of like, oh, everyone meets on a battlefield, fight it out kind of thing. The intelligence apparatus is extremely key, and that allows us to avoid getting into very difficult situations on a large scale, although the intelligence operatives themselves get into extremely difficult situations. So yeah, it's a very interesting one to think about. One thing we should really capitalize on as a band is our mythology around Shahidi. This is something that's been ingrained in many Khalsa Panthis, that this concept of Shahidi, that we even get mukti by getting Shahid. It's something we can play on. I believe it's a very powerful mythology and psychology to ingrain in a population. Because it kind of alleviates the fear of death, and through that you can engage in certain operations that would otherwise be considered unfeasible. And I'll give you an example of this. Remember when October 7th happened, and short while after, the Israeli, the IDF, the Israeli regimes or whatever, the government thinks that the solution here is to go through and do a boots on the ground invasion of Gaza. And I was thinking at the time, well, if you know where the Hamas leaders are in Oman and in these hotels or whatever, why not just send like a special forces unit to go in and just take out the leadership? And then I was told by a military guy, he said, yeah, obviously they can consider things like this, but really, who are you going to send in? And especially with such a low likelihood of survivability afterwards, like you're going to go to enemy territory, you're going to take out their top guys, and then you also then have to figure out how you're going to get the guy out afterwards. And I'm thinking like, yeah, you're right, he probably will die in doing this, but he would save so many lives, like it would prevent such this massive catastrophe of war, like dragging on all this kind of stuff. But then like, he is right as well, like who's going to sign up for a death wish, like a mission to the death, that kind of thing. And I was thinking, well, the Khalsa should, like the Khalsa should be seeking out opportunities to get Shahidi in the battle for a good reason, right? We're just not competent. We're just not in a stage where that would be sustainable. Even if we did do that, like we'd have a generation of 6 going to do it, and that's it done. Because if you're going to do that, you need to have a whole infrastructure, a whole society that's geared towards manufacturing shaheeds on like a mass level. That a life cycle of a Khalsa would be okay. You're born, you train up for the course of your not your adult life, but your younger life. From a young age, you start training. And you get immersed in warrior culture, into the stories of Shaheeds. Baba Deep Singh becomes this massive motive in your life. All these kind of stories are embedded and form a psychology, or like a Kshatriya psychology in one's mind, rather than the kind of attitudes we get now when mothers are like, oh, we don't want to expose our children to violence on TV or this kind of stuff, right? We don't expose our children to meat eating or that kind of things, right? So it starts with the mother in a lot of these cases. The mother's mentality is not a warrior mentality anymore, let alone the mentality is going to give her children. And then the men of our band are becoming very non-warrior mentality, non into this kind of stuff. They shy away from concepts like Khalsa Raj and all this kind of stuff, right? Not always, obviously, and I think this is changing, and it should change. But again, this kind of life cycle of a Khalsa, so he goes through this kind of training process from a young age and adopts this kind of warrior, royal, kingly mentality. A justice mentality that, oh yeah, my purpose here in the world is to fight the evildoers, to establish Khalsa Raj. This is my purpose, right? This is what I want to do. And then by the time they get to the adulthood, then they engage in military practice, to going around finding problems to solve, resolving injustices, that kind of thing. And then when they're old and they've made it through that alive still, or they're getting old, get married, have kids, have a new generation kind of thing, put them through the same training regime, and then when they're old and and then the first white hair becomes in your dari, and then you start thinking, well, now it's time for me to make a decision. Either I stay in the community away from warfare, and I serve the Bant in some way, shape or form, and make sure it's a productive thing, not just going to do speeches at Godwara or whatever, but actually do something tangible, like translate a grant or something like this, right? Do some massive seva, or I go seek out a warrior's death. I go seek out Shahidi in some sense. And then, so you have a population of people above the age, I don't know, like 45 or 50, whatever, and they're going out actively seeking missions to go on where they can get Shaheed, but in service of a greater goal. Now, this is a pretty radical thing, and I'll probably write about it at some point. I have got notes on it, I've never released it yet, because I'm still testing the waters to see how this will be received. But yeah, I guess some people who've listened to that point might be a bit shocked what I'm saying there. But yeah, I'll flesh this out more. So if you want to hear my views on this properly, let me know, and I'll flesh it out and I'll post it. But yeah, if you want to do these kind of operations that I just mentioned about, okay, well the Hamas leadership is there, let's go take them out kind of thing, and you want a population of fearless warriors willing to go give Shahidi happily, then we need to have the infrastructure in place to do it, and that's not going to be something you can do overnight. You have to have a generational change is needed. It'd be a very difficult thing to get to. I think we used to have it at some level anyway. But yeah, that's kind of my answer to that question. Feel free to guys leave your thoughts if you have any on that one. Okay, so on the Discord it says, war is all logistics. It's a battle of logistics. Strategy and tactics are just a function of logistics. Logistics is the shared language / logic. Both strategy and tactics are application of logic. Logistics comes from the Greek word logistikos, which essentially means to calculate. Logic comes from the word logos, meaning word. We see the link between logic and logistics is just application. Oh, very interesting. That's very well put. I like that. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah. Might want to save that somewhere actually, Ruben Singh. Might want to sort of like reference that in the future. And it says it's Guru Amrdas Sahib, I believe. They outlawed Bradar. Yeah, okay, it was a Guru Amrdas Maharaj. Okay, Tiga. So if you know the enemy, and Ruben says, okay, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the outcome of 100th battles. A famous quote, I've forgotten how to spell the guy's name. Is that Sun Tzu's Art of War stuff? I don't know, I think it is. You will just create more splinter groups, which is harder to manage, and create more violence. Similar phenomenon happened with the cartels. Leadership taken out, but the cartels just fractured. The drugs and violence just stayed same, if not increased. Yeah, kind of. So yeah, if we did take the Hamas leadership out, whatever, you're basically what they do with this strategy is, because I've heard somebody else detail this afterwards as well. And the way they sort of do is they go down the ranks, and they just basically keep another way to do it is basically beard again, like you'd sow distrust. So even the commanders don't trust the other commanders, kind of thing. So you start doing a lot of infighting, and because resources are being taken up doing that, and attention's being taken away, it makes it easier for the enemy or the external force to come in and manipulate the situation. It's kind of what that Sablo Institute article was talking about a little bit as well. That you sow division, and then through that you can sort of like come in and think and sort of bulldoze over. That being said, it is a nuanced topic because the missiles also infighted quite a bit, but when they had an existential threat, they kind of banded together quite successfully to kick it out. But Maharaja Ranjit Singh, before he was Maharaja, got a bit frustrated with this because he was the one right on the border when the Afghans used to come in. And so he just get frustrated, like, oh, we're taking the brunt of it kind of thing. So he had the incentive to centralise and get everyone to come under this kind of rule, right? So yeah. These are the general problems of counterintelligence that the Western world has been struggling with since Vietnam War times. Counterinsurgency, man, yeah. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Or do both. Sri Babadeep Singh Sahib Ji Shaheed is a good example of this. Yeah, exactly. It only works when you pit them against each other. Yeah. Okay, cool. Any more comments from anyone? No. Let's do one more question and then let's call it a day. We'll do a nice quick Darbar this time. Let's do. Where are you guys? Okay, yeah. I think I'm not sure if I covered this one before, but I'll read it again just to finish it off. Why do you guys hate people who like to view only Guru Granth Sahib Ji as a guru? Why is it so much of a concern if they're not affecting you with their personal views? It is a concern because one is just not accurate. You're denying a massive part of Sikhi's conclusion. It's like reading a book and you're tearing out the last page. Like the cast of becoming the guru was a very important distinguishing factor of what makes Sikhi Sikhi. So by denying that or ignoring that or just not being aware of it, it's like, well, if you're just here to play dress up and do part all day, you could have done that as a Hindu, you could have done that as a Buddhist. What is it that makes Sikhi a bit different and make it worthwhile even becoming a Sikh as well? And I think that is the elevation the Guru does, the apotheosis he provides, or they provide, in terms of taking their Sikh and elevating them to the status, the exact same status they are. No one else does that. Christians establish a shepherd and then keep their followers as sheep. Islam does the same. Jews do the same. Hindus do the same with the Brahmin caste system. It's Sikhi that breaks this, and it truly goes to the crux of what differentiates between a cult and a true spiritual tradition. A cult is something that keeps you subservient, whereas a true spiritual master, a true spiritual tradition is something that elevates you, that enlightens you to realize your true nature. And that true nature is equal, that same oneness that's prevalent within everything, that no one is higher, no one is below. That's true spirituality. Whereas cult nature is like, okay, you're subservient to this person and you kind of kill your own critical thinking, your own kind of individual autonomy, that kind of stuff. That's cultish. So it's really important we recognize the caste as guru because it is a key conclusion of Sikhi, of the project, the 200-year project that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj started, and then Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj formalized officially. So yeah, that's why I take such a strong stance against it. I'm also trying to overcorrect for things like this. So if I Google Sikh Wiki, if I put in Sikh Wiki, I did this once on a video I made. If I go to Sikh Wiki, right, and I go to where's the word guru? Sikh gurus areas, and they list the number of gurus, right? They go all the way down to 10, and then Guru Granth Sahib. Where's the Khalsa? Right? And I know Sikh Wiki, like, you can say, it's not the best source, whatever. But this is the first thing that comes up on Google when you Google, okay, about the Sikh gurus and stuff. Sikh Wiki is a very commonly used source, even if it's not a very good source for certain things. But this is crazy. What religion forgets it's one of its own founders? It's embarrassing. So I'm trying to overcorrect by taking a very harsh stance, a very strong stance at the caste as the guru, and overemphasizing it, because we need to reverse stuff like this. This is ridiculous, because it is missing out a core component of Sikhi, that the caste as the guru. Like, after all this going into it, right? The caste is the conclusion of it, and that's what's going forward. That's what the purpose of being a Khalsa is, to achieve Khalsa Raj. So if you don't even understand these basics, what are you doing here? Like, why are you becoming a Khalsa for? So yeah, there's a lot of this going on. So we don't hate anybody who doesn't believe in this. In fact, I've not come across anybody so far who's actually disagreed with me on calling the Khalsa the Guru. Yeah, I've definitely found anyone who disagreed on that. So whoever asked this question, if you do have a strong counter argument why the Khalsa is not the Guru, please present it. I'll be interested in debating with you on it and seeing why. But yeah, I don't hate you. I don't know you, right? So don't worry. We're not gonna kill you over this. But we are gonna be very strong in our advocacy for the Khalsa being the Guru. And again, I mentioned why it was a concern. It's because without this core fundamental philosophy permeating the Sikh psyche, we fall for cults. And if you look over the last 100 years, where the Khalsa kind of was decimated after the Anglo-Sikh wars, and the Khalsa retreated into the jungles and down to Hazur Sahib, all this kind of stuff, and Punjab became bereft of Khalsa at any scale or in terms of any influence, then in that ideological power vacuum, a lot of these folk babbe, these Sant babbe, these sampradas, these offshoots, these cults and stuff, all that arose to fill that gap. And as a result of that, the Sikhs have become extremely superstitious, become extremely gullible, lack critical thinking, and have fallen for cults. They've made themselves subservient to intermediaries, and I think this is extremely, extremely dangerous if we allow this trend to continue, and I'm going to do my best to counteract it so that we can have a competent Khalsa that is loving of Khalsa Raj, that wants to achieve Khalsa Raj, because you're not going to get anything unless you want it. So yeah, that is my answer to that question, and we'll leave it there. So thank you guys for listening. If you guys want to hang around in the Discord chat, we're going to be speaking with some of the Bunga guys, so we'll carry on talking there. But yeah, for YouTube side, thank you for listening. This is now end. Any questions, let me know. Fill in that form, we'll answer it next month. Any other announcements I've got to make is, yes, so follow the Sablo Heritage Outpost, read their plan, get involved with them. Sablo Institute, follow them, read their posts, get engaged, get involved with them. The first Sikh defence and security think tank. There'll be some really cool stuff coming out of this as well going forward. All this kind of contributes towards the Dharma Youth Pipeline in general, a multi-organisational effort, hopefully, where we're trying to get everybody to come in and push this Dharma Youth Pipeline stuff. So definitely check this out. And also the various other things I've mentioned throughout that I might not be remembering right now. Logic Nama, check this out for getting some critical thinking skills back. And also, last thing I'll mention is become a member of Bunga Azaadi, either through joining that Discord server and climbing the ranks, and we'll support you and support your Vichaars, make you a Vicharak. And then also, if you want to support us financially with your Daswand, even if it's a little bit, let us know. Come into Substack, azadism.substack.com, or go to bungaazadi.com/support, I think it is the link, and you'll find the way to become a patron of the Bunga and donate. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. Wajib Khalsa, Wajib Ki Fateh.